The house stood in the older part of town, the kind of place people stopped noticing on purpose. Not abandoned, not ruined, just left alone. The paint had lost its color years ago, but never peeled. The walls were stained with time, not damage. Moss clung to the roof, yet the structure held firm. Everything about the place suggested it had been waiting, not decaying. The front door was the strangest part. It was never locked, sometimes wide open, sometimes resting halfway, but never fully closed. People walking past felt an urge to speed up without knowing why. Some said the air around the house felt heavier. Others said standing there too long made their thoughts slow down. No one ever stayed long enough to explain it properly. On a quiet afternoon, the street felt emptier than usual. Sunlight hit the front of the house directly, yet the interior remained dark. The door stood open. No sound came from inside. No hum of electricity, no movement, no life. Ethan Walker stepped inside. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, the daylight behind him felt distant, as if it belonged to a different place. The door was still visible, still open, but its presence felt displaced, not closed, just no longer part of the room, as if the house had quietly removed it from relevance. The air inside wasn't cold, but it carried weight. The floor was clean, in a way that felt intentional, as if it had been scrubbed once long ago, and then never touched again. The walls seemed closer than they should have been. From outside, the house looked spacious. Inside, it felt compressed, like a version of itself that had been folded inward. With each step forward, the space subtly changed. Not enough to notice immediately, just enough to feel wrong. His body didn't resist movement, but the desire to keep walking faded. Sitting down felt reasonable. Standing still felt safer. He turned back toward the entrance. The door was there, open, unobstructed, but the distance between him and it no longer felt real. The floor stretched without moving. The hallway didn't lengthen, but reaching the door felt harder, like walking through resistance that wasn't air. Each step landed normally, yet the house seemed to pull the space back into itself. The air shifted, not flowing, not still. It moved in short pauses, like breathing held and released. The walls were bare, yet his eyes kept returning to them, not because of markings, but because they felt aware, not watching, but registering. There was a room deeper inside, incomplete, smaller. The ceiling hung lower there. Stepping into it tightened something in his chest. Breathing still worked, but the air felt thinner with every inhale. The door behind him was still visible, still open, but his mind had already decided it was closed. The floor carried a faint warmth now, as if something had stood there recently. But the room was empty. The walls hadn't moved, yet they felt closer. The shape of the room subtly reduced, moment by moment, without sound or motion. Time stopped making sense. Hunger never came. Thirst never followed. Only urgency remained, the need to leave, though the meaning of outside had become unclear. Outside felt less like a place and more like a memory. When he tried to move again, his legs felt functional, but progress felt impossible. The house didn't stop him. It simply refused to give him space. Each step forward was followed by the floor reclaiming itself, quietly adjusting, deciding how much room he was allowed to have. The silence thickened, so complete that his heartbeat felt loud. With each pulse, the walls edged closer. The ceiling didn't descend, but his instinct to lower his head grew stronger. From the street, the door still looked open. Sunlight still touched the entryway. The house appeared unchanged to anyone passing by. Inside there was no path anymore, no exit, only the house. The air stopped moving. The house held its breath. The walls were close enough now that standing felt unnecessary. The floor remained solid, but space itself had run out. The house wasn't shrinking anymore. The house was finished. Outside, it remained the same quiet place it had always been. An open door, a silent afternoon, a house that looked empty, as if no one had ever stepped inside.